Hi guys, I hope that you are all enjoying your first day of at-home learning. I'm glad to be back with you guys. I know when we started our last science unit, I said that we were going to be doing experiments. Well, I'm not going to have you guys do experiments at home because I feel like that might be a little hard on your parents. So instead, we're going to be reviewing the units that we have already done. So we're going to start by talking about one of our biggest units, our space unit, and we're going to talk a little bit about the phases of the moon. So let's remember a couple very important things about the phases of the moon. The first very important thing that we need to know is that the moon does not have its own light. The moon reflects the sun's light. And that the phases of the moon are caused by the moon orbiting around the Earth. So as the moon, let's pretend this is the Earth and my finger's the moon. As the moon goes around the Earth, we are seeing different reflections of the sun's light. So I'm going to give us some examples. Here is a new moon. Let the camera focus for a second. So we have the sun and the Earth, and we see that the sun is reflecting on one half of the moon, and the other side is darkness. The darkness is what we are seeing from Earth. That's why a new moon looks like it's complete darkness. The next phase in the phases of the moon is the waxing crescent. So here the moon has moved a little bit, and as you can see, the same amount of light is being shown. But I drew a line dividing the moon, showing what we see on Earth. So you see, we only see a little tiny piece of the moon's light. And as you can see, there is the same amount of darkness. Next, we have the first quarter moon. As you can see, the moon is still having the same amount of the sun's light, but our perspective of the moon has changed. We are seeing now 1/4 of the moon being lit up. I drew that line to show you what we are seeing. We're seeing half of our visible moon is light and half of our visible moon is dark. That is the first quarter moon. Now we have the waxing gibbous. That's our next one. As you see, the moon has moved again. It's further back. And we see a lot more light of the moon than we're seeing the dark. Remember that waxing means that the light that we're seeing in the moon is getting more, and waning means that it's getting less. So as it's waxing, it's getting closer to a full moon. On our full moon, we are seeing the entire part of the moon that is lit up. We're not seeing any part of the moon that is dark. Full moon. Now we're getting to our waning moons. First up, we have our waning gibbous. And we have more light than dark, but not the entire thing is lit up. Next, we have the third quarter moon, which is basically the same thing as our first quarter moon, but we're looking from a different perspective. And we have 1/2 of the visible moon is light, and 1/2 of the visible moon is dark. Finally, our waning crescent. After this, we go back to our new moon. We only have a little teeny tiny piece of light that we are seeing from our moon, and the rest is darkness. But again, as you can see, we still have the same amount of the moon as being lit up, but our perspective of the moon has changed. And we're only seeing a little bit of light. That's all I have for the moon for you guys today. Please check my webpage for your worksheets that you are to complete and email back to me. Thanks, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.